guys. This guy's a big fan of yours.
No.
I swear to God.
I don't believe that.
A couple years ago, and this is all through Ethan Russell, young player. I met Sebastian about. I want to say I met Sebastian 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
I think the last.
We were outside of a nightclub. First of all, Zombie, do you accept?
It's a little bit better than the last time I really remember meeting you, which was after a breakup at a coffee meet.
No, I remember that convo too. Zombie, I just want to get this out of the way. Zombie, do you accept that face?
No, it's not too shabby, Shane. It's not too shabby at all.
Do you accept that face?
It's acceptable, yeah.
All right. About 7 years ago, I met Sebastian. This was 6 years ago. When did all the... We were outside of a nightclub. By the way, don't stand too close to this guy if you're out on any level and single, because it doesn't work out very well for you.
What does that mean?
Well, he's a good-looking
That's
guy.
Complimentary. I don't know.
It's a complimentary
so
thing.
he takes all the hot girls.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
But we got into this. Here's what happened. And you know me, I'm anybody that's about to be a big movie star, famous guy, I'm already ready to hate.
Yeah.
I start with hate and work backwards. So Ethan's like the guy, my buddy in the thing, and he's about to be the new winter dragon.
Right. That's exactly.
And I'm like, well, that poor guy's about to ruin his fucking life.
Why?
Well, this was...
He's going to...
This back then. So I had this very heavy conversation where I went heavy, and the guy was like ready to go and have a thoughtful discussion about his life. I'd met him for 5 minutes, and I just remember thinking to myself, that's a solid guy. Like, it's not he didn't bullshit around. He wasn't like trying to do the niceties and like keep it. He was ready to go into a conversation with me.
He earned your respect.
Now, this is why I'm not an agent.
Right.
Because I said, that's a bad idea. Right. Do you remember this conversation?
So you said you were too nice, right? Or no?
I said, I don't think you should do the fucking Winter Dragon. I said, don't do that because then you get pegged into the whole Marvel thing and you should go and do... Do you remember this? Were you drunk?
Well, if I was in LA at a nightclub 7 years ago, that probably yes.
So anyway, he did not take my advice. And things have worked out pretty well for him.
Right, so you had not made the decision to do that. There was possible that he could have swayed
I'm trying to recollect this meeting that we're having basically right now. But I remember you saying that it maybe would have ended up in a typecasting situation and like kind of that, you'd be stuck in the thing maybe.
By the way, he crushed. I was very impressed with him. And that, Ethan and I were close. I was also a mess. And coming on way too strong, I'm sure, to everybody. But then years later, when I got more in my head, we had another really nice conversation about life and love, and that was when we first connected, right?
Yeah, I feel like that was around, that was a good time when we connected then, and then we've connected since, like a few times.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's fun. I'm excited for him. Let me ask you, let me get into I don't want to talk, I don't really care about that. We're going to get into the relation, like love and life, but I don't want to talk about specifics. I don't give a shit.
I don't care.
And that's the lowest common denominator. I don't give a shit who this guy's having sex with. He's having sex with whoever he wants. That's the answer to that question. But I want to get into this. Walk me through Sunday night at the Globes. You're in a suit. You're at the dinner, because it's like the little dinner before, right?
They actually don't give you any food whatsoever, and so that was definitely not helping.
So they don't feed you before?
They don't really. They bring you like a salad. You have like these little cucumber sandwiches that are there all night, and Mary J. Blige was not eating them. He was sitting next to me, and so I didn't really pick on them either. And then you all you have is this big Moet bottle, and I was watching Hugh Jackman pour himself a hefty glass, so I guess I was like, all right, I guess I'll be okay. But I ended up having to go up there that up until 2 days before, I didn't know that I was going to have to go up there and be a human
By the
being.
way, you look great. You look great, and people can fuck that up. That whole presenter thing.
Oh yeah,
it's a real tightrope you're walking, and you did great. You are, and here's the deal. I want to know this.
So you watched them. You watched the Globe.
I watched them all. I go to this thing every year. I go to a party and we do the pool. I've lost 17 years in a row. Your girl, actually, I took your girl. I took Margot. Because I do think she's had without she's had the best performance of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know the little girl in the fucking Lady Birds.
Sheersha.
Sheersha.
Is that how you say Sheersha?
I think you say
and you
Sorsha. Sorsha.
And you can have no comment about all of the things. You can just be like, I'm not trying. This is not a gotcha interview. I'm not trying to get him in any trouble. Good. But from an outsider perspective, who's been sort of around people that are in this business a long time, that Margot Robbie performance is by far the best performance of the year, only to be maybe outmatched by my pass, who was also in the movie, Allison Janney.
Oh,
she's incredible in that, and so is Margot, and Margot got fucked by the Circe, Circe,
right? Like a nice
in the Lady Bird.
Yeah.
And I seen the Lady Bird, and guess what? I saw the movie 6 years ago. Shit's called Juno.
Okay.
Okay. There's this whole
joke keeps working. That's a good joke.
No, but that movie I've seen a bunch, and this is a biopic. That Tanya Harding, that's a tough thing to get cracking, and Margot Robbie murders that role. Does she not?
I mean, without a doubt, she definitely, like, if you watch the 30 for 30 Price of Gold, that's Tanya Harding and whatnot, and you play that, and then you watch Margot in the movie as the older version, for example.
It's frightening.
It's parallel. It's, it's crazy, and some of the skating stuff too.
Okay, so let's just stop there. You're at the Globes.
Right.
You see all these people flying around you.
Yes.
And these are people that when you were a kid, you're like, holy shit, that's Oprah.
Of course, I would have been probably, I had an easier time saying hi to her than to Denzel. I'll say that.
Okay, so there's Denzel, and you're just like, but I mean, you got to be. Is this the first time you were at the Globes?
Well, it was really for me. I had been at the viewing party before, which is like this other thing backstage, which is kind of fun. You sit there, you get to see a lot of your peers and people but then to be in the actual room, it was the first time.
Okay, so hold on. They got a side room you show up to until you're big enough to get on the fucking on the sandwich floor.
So, yeah, there's a
and you go to the secondary one. What's that about? There ain't no cameras back there. This shit's got to be more fun.
It is more fun. Everyone lets loose and has a good time, and then they do eat actually at that part.
What did you do in the There's a secondary hang.
Well,
I never knew this. I'm 50. There's a second room.
Yeah, it becomes a whole thing after the Globes are done when basically everybody goes there. But while they're happening, all these people are in this room watching it and kind of having a party, which is a lot of fun. So I'd gone to that.
Now, are you able to go to the because you got your ticket now? You're sitting at the big table and you got the thing.
Yeah, but I was scared.
Are you able to go back to the secondary room between commercial breaks?
You can, yeah, as long as you have your ticket. But I was scared to leave my seat.
Your ticket's right here, man.
No, they don't care about that.
They don't care about that.
The ticket is in the form of in your hand.
Okay. Why were you scared to leave your seat?
Because somebody was going to take it. The seating stuff is so tricky, I think, over there, in terms of, and also I think they have people that maybe sort of replace the seats.
Seat fillers.
Or something like that, maybe.
Right.
But I didn't want to, go up there during, Oprah's speech, for example, and be the one that has no seat and is, looking, and I ended up sitting on Hugh Jackman's wife's lap.
So you
at one point, which was...
Wait, the seat filler, does the seat filler guy look like you?
No, definitely not.
They don't do that. Well, but there is. There's some kind of situation.
But why would they do that? Just so it looks like
I don't know. I've seen them. They put the pictures on the seats. Was your picture on your seat?
No. And it's actually, you don't even have a name. There wasn't even a name thing on there. And I'd gotten there really early, so I was hanging on to my seat. Like, I thought, okay, I better just, I took, like, the side seat. I thought that was going to be the safe seat, that way everyone can kind of, like.
You can't take no side seat no more, man. You ain't in the secondary shit. You're like a real guy now.
I was testing the water. I was trying to see what the whole thing was about. It was a little bit more nerve-wracking.
Were you able to get comfortable? This is your first time doing this. This will not be your last. That we all know.
Let's just say when Allison Janney won, I let out such a loud scream that I was like, "There's the kid from the Eastern European country, like sitting at the big table." Like, I actually was too loud, I think.
Are you able to pinch yourself or have a minute and go, "Holy shit, this is pretty crazy that I'm sitting here"?
Well, when you're looking around, like when you're looking at some of these people, they're like the Tom Hanks and sort of like Ridley Scott and all these people. It is a little surreal for sure, but we were there for a good reason. Like, I'm tremendously proud of the movie. I felt like we had earned being there. I mean, we were shooting we hadn't even shot the movie yet over a year ago. So to have just gotten there and be at this award show in virtually almost the same year was already an achievement. But I felt like I belonged there, so it was good from that.
See, that must feel good, because I'm sure there's a lot of people, Vangs, that are at these fucking things. And they're not happy with their performance. They don't like the movie. They didn't, and they feel out of place. Right. But because the work was put in, the product is good, the formulation of the relationships are there, it must feel nice to be able to own the seat that you're sitting in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree, of course.
Now, Allison Janney,
that was her first Golden Globe win.
Which is ridiculous.
Out of 6 prior nominations. And she's got 7 Emmys as well.
Was she ever nominated for the CJ role for West Wing?
Oh, yeah.
As a Golden Globe? And never won?
I know, she's won, for sure. As a Golden Globe? No.
So she must have been super excited.
Oh, yeah. I think she was thrilled, and we were thrilled too. I mean, so her and the writer Stephen Rogers have like a funny story together. They like went to college together. He was trying to be an actor for a while. He's been writing parts for her for years, and like he can't ever hire her. They could never get her. Basically, they would always want someone else. So he wrote this movie with her in mind for that part, and actually finally had it in writing for her to be that role. And so it's like watching the two of them was very funny to me, because she's finally up there for this one role that he always wanted,
her to play in his head. How does that movie come to? Because I don't know enough. I know a little bit, but not enough. This movie comes together how? There's a director. He gets the story.
Margot, basically, is what makes the movie happen. I mean, it starts with her. She found it on the blacklist, and then was like, I want to develop this, and then they were talking to directors, and Craig was the only one, I think, that had like got the tone of the movie and was like really had a very specific take on how he wanted to make it, and that's how they went with it.
Okay, so Vanks, here's what's up. The fucking thing's sitting around. It's this thing called the Blacklist, which is like, it's like a list of 20 great scripts that nobody wants to make. Mm-hmm. I think something.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah,
so she sees this shit on the Blacklist. Yeah. This Margot Robbie, this beautiful little girl, and she's like, I want to be Tanya Harding.
Right.
And then she decides I'm connected to it. And then shit starts happening with the property, right? Yeah. Then people are like, okay, let's get a director and a thing, because they just want to get her out there, because that's, I mean, how about this? I know there's an artistry to what you, I mean, acting is an art. There are people that study, like my girl. My girl is a trained classical thespian. She's got a degree from Boston University. It's an art form for her.
Right.
There's a lot of people in the fucking movie business that aren't artists, correct?
No, of course. I mean, it's one of those, it's like a fine line. There is an artistry to it, but you don't see it all the time.
Is the business part the worst part of it?
I don't, I mean, maybe yes and no. I think how sometimes these things come together is probably a little
strange.
Yeah, it's not, and I think there's a lot, like, I guess what I'm getting at is, I don't think talent necessarily is always what gets you the job.
Right.
And I don't know if anyone really judges things by your talent right away. I think that's more like a 5 or 6 on a list of 10 things, that's of importance.
And there's big dudes at studios that are like, I don't give a shit if she's talented. She's going to get a certain amount of money on a foreign base, and so then we get the movie funded, and then we make the movie, and then it's all. There's two parts, I think. There's the artistry of making a good movie, and then there's these other guys that are just bottom lining it like a corporate balance sheet, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, because it's to some people, I think it is very much statistics, and it is sort of kind of what people bring to the table, because it's so hard to make a movie now.
It's so hard to make a movie,
and to make an original movie. I mean, it's like we're almost back to like the 20s or the 30s, where like studios kind of feel safer kind of hiring you if something works like a franchise, then you why keep doing it until it gets broken? Like just keep going.
We're going to get into the Winter Dragon a little bit later. I'm fascinated by the dynamics of all of that going on, but I want to say that. Go ahead.
I read that Margot didn't know it was a true story. Is that true?
Yeah,
she did not know, and she just wanted to be a part of it, and then found out it was a true story.
She read the script and was like, "This is so crazy and insane," and then
it's so crazy it can't be real.
Yeah,
correct. Basically.
Right. Okay. So, and I lived through that time, and I got some little weird nugget to this. I was working for Herb Ritz, who was a photographer, a big photographer, and I assisted his stylist. This woman named Kate Arrington, who was a crazy fucking maniac, but a lovely human being and generous, and was a good person to me. Hi, Kate. I think she's living in Montana right now. She's jumped out. Okay.
Definitely listening.
She's definitely listening. Herb was set to shoot Nancy right after the Olympics. And it was right in that time where this was all happening in real time. So she was panicked. She was freaked out about anybody hurting her because she had just gone through this traumatic experience before the Olympics. So I think she was very unhappy about not winning gold. And so we had to shoot her for some commercial, and it was in New York. We fly to New York, and I've been around a lot of situations with a lot of security. I had never, this building and this woman there was not a person who was more secure than, there were fucking guards everywhere. There were guns everywhere. This woman was like this. She was like, you could tell she was still sizably traumatized by that entire experience. And I was like, holy shit, this little girl is in the middle of a fucking storm that she has no idea. And by the way, and no disrespect, but I met her a little bit, and she's not a very likable human being, Nancy Kerrigan. She was a little bit, well, you know what, how about this? She had just gone through a major experience. And who knows what she was going up to. I saw the medal.
Everybody's life from that thing was, to some extent, ruined. I don't think anybody walked away with something good.
How did you get the role?
I had a meeting with the director, a Skype meeting, and then I said I'm down to fly to LA and audition, whatever it takes for it. And then he said, well, all right, well, look, let me get back to you on this. And then 3 weeks went by, and they were talking to somebody much more famous than me.
Okay. That's how this shit works, though. Somebody passes, and then he gets it, and now he's.
And then it fell apart. Whatever that was going on, that conversation was sort of kind of. It didn't work out for whatever reason, but it worked out for me, obviously, that way. And then I got a call, and I happened to be in LA, and then I went in and I auditioned, and then that went well, and then they had me come back with Margot.
This is what's great, though. He reads, he does well, the director's in, but then Margot's got to sign off on you, right? It's her vehicle.
She's got to sign off. Yeah, I mean, she was a producer on it, too.
Right, so she could be like, I hate that guy.
Pretty much.
And you'd be done.
That's it.
But by the way,
I think, even though
the zombie's smiling.
World, so I came and see her do that.
Well, no, but it's great that women, she's in power in that. That's her. She's the one in power in that situation.
Of course. Well, that's the thing with her. Like, that's why I found so inspiring about her is that, it's literally her husband, and I think two of their other friends that started this company, Lucky Chap. And that's, that's what she wants. She wants to find roles that are empowering women. And
were you excited for the role? Was when you read for it, was there something like you? Because I know you guys read in your audition and then you learn to let it go and see what, and just whatever happens is whatever happens. But were you hanging on to like, God, I really want to do that?
No, it was very excruciating because it'd gone well, and then I still wasn't hearing back from them about it, and it'd gone well with Margot, and I wasn't hearing back from them. And I was losing my mind, and I actually called my agent. It was right around Thanksgiving, and I said, "Look, I think we need to call him and just say, please take till Monday or Tuesday, and then just tell us yes or no, so that we can just move on with our lives." But that's the thing. You're not in control as an actor, but that's the only thing you can do. You can kind of just say, and not like you can take it up to here at this point. I need to move on with my life.
And this is the other thing I want to point out, right? Because he's going to work for the rest of his life, barring any dramatic fucking personal tragedies.
Right, okay.
Maybe he gets a drug addiction and whatever. But in the meantime, if he just does him, he will work for the rest of his life. He's a kind, gentle guy. You can tell he shows up. But the thing is this. He's got the same feelings as a guy who doesn't have a career, who's read for it, gone back twice, waiting to hear, do I have it, do I not have it? Like, that feeling never leaves, right?
No, that's one of the conversations, I always end up having. It's like the problems don't go away. It's just they just change. The other thing, everyone always says about, you think you conquer this mountain and then there's another one right there as soon as you do. Like, it doesn't.
Do you feel fulfilled currently with your career and where you at? Have you been able to take a minute and be like,
I do. I'm terribly impatient. I'll say that. I mean, I'm terribly impatient. I think like I have wrong expectations. I have a lot of hard expectations for myself, especially at 35 in my head. But
all right, what does that mean? Explain that. Expectations for your 35, Mr. Okay.
Well, when my parents, my dad was 27 when he had me, right? And then my mom was, I believe, had me when she was younger, so I think she was like 24. And at 32, like she was, working as a single mom in a foreign country that she didn't speak the language of, like bringing home the dough and taking care of a 10-year-old kid. Like, that's what she was doing at 32. And so, like, I guess in my head at 35, like, I think a lot about where I want to be. I sort of feel like I should be further along.
How should I feel?
These fucking actors, these actors are the worst. These actors are the fucking worst. My girl's the same way. My girl is like always, we'll be okay. It'll be okay when I get there. And then we get there, and then it's this immediate desire to torture yourself by setting this new goal. Are you fulfilled?
Of course, sitting here today, I feel great. Yeah.
I mean, dude, you've come an amazing. It's impossible to get where you are. Are you aware of that?
There's fear of fulfillment. I mean,
but in your professional career, it is impossible to get where you are. It's like you can be as good as you want. You can be as talented as you need to be. There is a certain amount of fortune involved in getting where you are. And you deserve to be where you are. You're not floating like you're a fucking really good looking guy, but you've also got the shit to back it up. It's like, just be okay. Like, it's good to be you.
Yeah, no.
Is it not?
It is. Yeah, it is. But it's hard to say that sometimes, I guess. It is. No, for sure. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's the big thing. It's like you can't go through life just basically running yourself like that's how people run themselves into the ground. Is like they never really take a moment to kind of appreciate things. And so it's one of the things I've done is at least like in that room on Sunday, it's just to sit there and go, this is as good as it gets. Like that's it. Like what more can be filled from this moment, but I think we're in that culture though. That's the American way, it's like, you got to always be fucking better, stronger, faster. I mean, that's the underneath sort of stream of, I think, like sometimes what we deal with, or at least how I came up, because I'm, I still, even though I'm from another country, I still grew up here. So
right, and that's the other, I want to get into that little part. You were born in Hungary, And
No, in
no,
Romania.
fucking bro, same country, man. Same
got
shit.
your notes right there.
Serbia, Hungary, Croatia. It's all the same little area.
They were under the Russian.
So do you have an immigrant mentality with your work, which is a good thing? Like the blue collar, is there a blue collar sensibility?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, like sacrifice is a huge thing in my life growing up. Like that was with my parents and the fact of like, we came here. My mom like worked hard. We got here. We got to New York, and so it's like, the pressure was a little on, but I'm not saying it was bad. It was just, it's a very, what are you going to do with it? Now you're here, and what are you going to do with it?
Right.
And that's the kind of the feeling.
Do you got brothers and sisters?
I have one half brother on my dad's side, but we didn't grow up together.
Okay,
so I grew up
and you get along with your mom and dad?
Yes.
Which one do you like more?
They're so different. I mean, it's like,
I know, but you like one of them more.
Do I like one of them more? That's like Sophie's choice.
I like my mom more than I like my dad.
Your mom, yeah. Of course. There you go.
All right, we're gonna play a song. We got lots to talk about.
Okay.
No, actually, we're not gonna play a song. I want to get the rest of the I, Tonya thing out.
Okay.
Because there's a couple of. First of all, I saw the movie, and this is the thing that I wanted to tell you. And I don't know much about this movie shit. I don't. But I watched the movie, and I had a throwback memory. And don't let this fucking go to your head. Because don't let it. But I had a moment where the relationship between you and Margot on the screen, and your desire to be selfless and let her be the vehicle is very important, especially in that movie. That movie is hers. The movie is about Tonya, and you supported the role as a male in a really beautiful way. You weren't trying to steal the movie. You weren't trying to overstep her. There was a selflessness to your acting, that was the thing that I took away from it, watching it. And it reminded me of Leo DiCaprio in Revolutionary Road, where it was Kate's movie, Kate Winslet. It was her movie. It was her vehicle. And you've got maybe one of the greatest living actors in the world and he chose, I think he made an active choice to make sure that he was supporting her instead of trying to take the movie over. And I don't know if you realize that I don't know if you subconsciously did that in your performance, but that was the memorable part for me. And I think that is an extremely honorable, it's an extremely honorable quality in you as a man to allow her the moment in that film, because there's a lot of fucking scumbag actors that would have signed on to that and then lived their life trying to steal it. And that is not what you did in that film. And I just want to congratulate you on that. And that's why I think you have a shot to be special.
Wow. I appreciate that, man. I've certainly, no one is, I mean, I've never, that's a very...
Do you understand what I'm saying, though?
I do. I'm grateful for hearing it. I do. I think that was a hard, I don't know if anybody would want to try and steal scenes with that role, but
no, but there are very selfish actors out there that are like, I'm going to use this. She's the person, but I'm going to do everything I can to overstep and lean into the wherever and the light and the stepping on stuff. Like they're making her movie about them, and you made that movie. Your performance made that movie about her, which is why that movie worked. Vanger?
I agree. I went into that movie hating your character, but your performance, I was torn. And then that's the way the story goes. But I felt for Jeff Gillooly and how things
he humanized him in the performance, which is very, very hard to do.
Definitely.
I grew up with guys like you. I grew up in Omaha. I mean, guys like, see,
Right.
that's a good thing. Like Galooly, I grew up with dudes in Omaha. There's a
Yeah.
billion Galoolis. And this
where,
was the
where
other.
you mean the domestic violence was very much part of the world.
It's not even really violence. It's communication. That's how they think about it in Omaha with some lower, like, blue. It's not like the woman knows it's going to happen. She doesn't really think about it as violence.
Mhm.
The guy has every right to put his hands on his woman, and it's a way for him to communicate that he's not okay with the current situation. That's how gnarly and insidious domestic violence is. And the turning on the dime thing with the violence with you, like, it was spot on. Because I've had buddies of mine who were fine and interacting with their girl, and then bang, and then they would just slap them, and you're like, okay, this is not my business. And you walk outside, and you're young, and you don't know what to say. You're like, that doesn't feel very okay to me, but I don't. And they're older, like, there was turning on a dime with the violence thing. Did you study domestic violence?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely looked up different things, like in terms of where it starts, like, and it always starts in childhood. I mean, like, whatever you grow up seeing and you think that's like a caretaker handling something, that's where you start picking it up. And I'm, I don't want to speak for him, obviously, because I didn't meet him, but
you did meet him.
I met him, yeah, but I would say that you get to see what she grew up like, but I'm positive his experience was not very different from hers. I mean, it had, I just, the feeling I got is that he probably had a really hard childhood. But I think the weird part about this one situation is because every footage I found, I mean, he clearly went out of his way, at least you see him come across in such like a, I'm like this meek guy, and, I never really had a girl in high, and so you don't get it right off the bat the way you see it have been romanticized in movies like the Marlon Brando Streetcar, the big
overbearing
sexy,
love.
yeah, like,
right.
Here I am, baby, like the alpha guy. Like so it wasn't like violence. If it would have been violence, even though he denies it, and
he denies ever hitting her.
Yeah, he denies the abuse.
Still.
Yeah, pretty much.
You saw the movie, or did you ask him? Did you say, "Hey, did you hit her?"
Well,
no. I mean, I don't know what you do when you're an actor and you're getting ready to fucking.
Look. I mean, I didn't really ask him that, to be honest. I mean, I think I said, this is what he might have said it before me. Actually, he might have said it. Listen, the one thing that they always got wrong was that she and I had this sort of really hard, abusive kind of relationship, and that was never the case.
Do you believe him?
I don't know what to believe, to be honest. Because he was not a easy guy to read per se, and also I had a struggle.
You're really good in it. I'm sorry.
No. I had a
There's a sociopathicness to his performance. It's like this mellow, quiet dude, and he doesn't like what she's doing. Bang! Like that happens. Yeah. That's how it works.
I don't know whether he even was. If he was doing that, I don't even know if he was really aware. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it might have happened so quickly, or he might have talked himself out of believing like that's not what I don't know. But whatever it was, it would have been spontaneous like that. It wouldn't have been like a premeditated sort of, here, I'm coming home, I'm pissed off, and this is going to happen.
I'm going to beat her up.
It's like, I feel this, and I don't like feeling this, and this is my way of communicating.
It's my way of saying, I'm scared.
I don't have other
why
tools.
Aren't you giving me what I need? It's this instead.
Right.
You didn't look at the guy and go, come on, Jeff. Come on, Jeff. You beat her ass all the time.
Here's the thing. I needed his help. I needed his help in the sense of, like, I needed him. And like, that's what I was getting at. I needed to in a way tell him, like, dude, I'm about to go play this part, and regardless of your history or what's been said about you, I feel responsible for you in some way now. And I feel I just gotta try and get somewhere. And the other thing is, I said I didn't write the script. And so I have to portray the version that you say and the version that she says. And in the version that she says, this is what happened. So regardless whether it happened or not, it's going to be portrayed. So,
And they don't talk. They're not friends. They don't hang.
No, but I'm pretty sure they live like 20 minutes away from each other. In
Right.
the same town, I think.
They got different lives and different families and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they're forever connected.
Those interviews that are in when you're because you play two Galulis pretty much. You play the older
Right.
Galuli.
Yeah,
Are those,
and that's why I wanted to meet him because I couldn't find anything on him like now at 50.
right. Are those interviews real? Like when you're portraying the older Galuli, is that a real interview that you just
No, so that a lot of that is actually based on the audio interview that the screenwriter Stephen Rogers did.
he did? And so
Yeah.
you heard? Did
and
you?
I was listening to
you
that
heard
over
the
and
audio.
over again and trying to get the voice and like I was just and a lot of that is in there, but and then I just wanted to see him like talk or whatever.
Yeah, you're spot on.
No, it's good.
That's-
And there's a way that there's things you watch and you're like, oh, the fucking guy's mimicking, right? Which is not
Right.
interesting. Then there's a thing, I don't know what these people do, but they figure out a way to get in there with a character, and it doesn't seem like a mimic. It seems like a portrayal, which is completely different. Because if you miss, it's a joke. I mean, if you miss, I'm Netflix. I'm out. I can't because the mimic thing is just it's brutal.
But I think what you said is interesting because, like, I don't think people talk a lot about that. To be honest, it's like, instead of like, I figure that like instead of like having this war with yourself, that every time you get a job, you should like be the one to stand out. You have to, you got to like know what lane you're in.
Well, that's a subconscious thing that you know. Like, isn't acting about giving? Isn't it about making the other person the best they can be, and then therefore you will end up looking good too? Or that's not how it's approached?
I think that, but I definitely
a lot of
suffered
people
from
that-
that too. Don't worry, I've definitely been across some other people where like the camera was on them. This person you actually know,
Okay.
he's an unbelievable person, an unbelievable.
There's tricks though.
And camera's on him, and I'm giving him like my all, and I know that when it turns around, he'll probably, he'll return the favor, but
Gone.
instead,
Not even there.
He's like trying to crack me up and fuck my
Which
take.
ruined the thing, which then makes that guy's performance look better
That
because
happens.
because these people are vicious to each other.
Yeah.
They're fucking vicious.
No,
I had a buddy, Danny Nucci,
Okay.
who was in that movie, the Sub movie. Something you would have been in like 25 years ago had you been that age, or Ethan, you would have been in it. You could have. It was Denzel Hackman, Crimson Tide.
Yeah.
And
Very
Danny was a
relevant.
big thing for him because he ended up getting his role bigger, and he had some like scenes with Hackman and Denzel and him, which is he's coming home going, Jesus Christ, Denzel, I don't know what the fuck, and then he was in a panic, and he's 24, 25, and so he would go and they shoot the scene with all three of them. I think that shit's called The Master,
Yeah, right, where everybody's in. Right.
where everyone's in it, and then they do. I would imagine at that point it was Hackman's close-up because he's the biggest guy on the thing. And so the camera's just on Gene Hackman, and Denzel and Danny are where his eye line is, and they're giving him the lines. And then they shoot Denzel, and Hackman and Danny show up to do the thing. And then it's Danny's turn. These dudes don't show.
No, they're not.
They got a PA. They got
Yeah.
me reading I'm doing like this. Go to the second deck, and this guy's got to try and figure out how to get there with it, right?
Yeah, well, because also like sometimes with some of those big heavyweights, you get them only for a certain amount of time, and then if you didn't get them, by 6 o'clock they're gone. So it doesn't matter whether they got to you or not.
Who do you want to work with?
Oh, I mean, I want to get to the.
I know you want to
director.
work with everybody,
No,
but if there's a guy that you could go, is it Denzel? Is it Leo? Is it Sean Penn? Is it a
I
girl?
love all those guys. All those guys are obviously people I've looked up to for years and years. But I would say like I would work with this director who did Blade Runner and
he's
and
fine.
Arrival.
He's fine. He's got the secret.
The director.
This fucking guy's got the secret now. People don't talk about the secret, but he's got the secret. He ain't worried about actors and actresses. he knows that the movie all comes down to the director. That's
Well,
it.
if Leo's in this movie, then he picked a good director. So you're already good.
The
right?
director,
Or same
right.
for the other two. I mean,
Well, the bigger you like, when you start to get some control and some freedom and choices, it's all about the director. Because the director, if the director's good, you're not going to ever be in a bad movie. If the script's good and the director sucks, you could be into a shit show.
Yeah, I think an actor could do a great performance, but if the movie isn't good, you don't really care for it.
What makes a good director for you?
I mean, I think it's somebody that knows how to like leave you alone and then say the right thing when they need to, but like not get in your way. It's like it's like dealing with dealing with children. Actors are children. They're emotional wrecks.
Did you and Margot on the set? Did you guys create this loving, weird, fucking dynamic? Like this come here, go, like, does your relationship start to mimic what you guys are portraying?
Well, no. I mean, it didn't, I loved working with her. Like, I mean, I just thought, cause she's down for anything. Like, I mean, a lot of times in this movie, obviously I would say to her, be like, look, like, we're about to get, even though we rehearsed everything, like we're about to get, physical. Like how do we know when enough or what? And she would, oftentimes look at me and go like, I just want you to know, if you don't hit me at this point, I'm going to fucking break a chair over your face. So, and I was like, all right, well,
okay,
that's
so
good.
She goes, this beautiful little pixie goes method on you. She's like,
but she went into it. I mean, there was one scene that obviously didn't make it into the movie. There was a car where I slammed her hand into the car door.
Yeah, I remember that. Don't do that again.
And that thing,
Jesus Christ, ouchie.
That went for a while, actually, before he yelled cut, and she, like, beats the shit out of me, like, throughout that entire rest of the thing. It didn't make it into the movie. But my point is, she made that happen. She made it okay to
So she makes
trust.
The boundary, or she says there is no boundary.
Well,
that's what I want, and then you guys do that.
And in this situation, it was very much like, you should lead this, and you should tell me where we need to go in terms of, kind of like, when's enough's enough, or how far do we take it?
Was there a safe word or something that she has?
No, I mean, we would laugh. No, she would start laughing, and that would be pretty okay.
And did you actually hit her?
No.
You don't actually hit her?
Never.
But you pretend to hit her?
No, but I hit the big guy a few times.
the goofball.
The bodyguard, yeah, he and I went punch for punch.
By the way, he's great in it, too.
He's
Fantastic.
He's really good. It seems like you guys are pretty friendly. You guys are...
he was great. I mean, he was... like we had enough time before we started where it became, I think we had a nice rapport that kind of made it to the screen.
And just in the real life, because I was 22 and this was going on. I had and this guy shows up out of nowhere. Sean, what's his name?
Sean Eckhart.
Sean, is that
Eckhart,
okay?
Yeah.
Right. So then you're watching the story unfold, and it's not in. There's no internet. There's no social media, so it's not instantaneous. But every couple days, there's like this new break in this fucking crazy story, and you're like, "Wait, what?" And then out of nowhere, they just catch a fucking shot of this Eckhart guy, and you're like, "This is like an episode of the Twilight Zone." Like he is right out of Central Casting, for like Glurb that doesn't know left from right, but it just fucking looked like Grimace. You're like, where the fuck is this guy? The whole story is insane. It's crazy.
Well, it was crazy but look, money is such a huge thing. It's the money thing is a big thing actually, and class in the movie, and that's the thing you're talking maybe from these where you said Omaha and like those parts like. These guys didn't. They just thought like money would. This is would save everything. I mean, I think they paid those two guys that did it $1,000, and they just thought like Galuli said. I mean, Jeff said this basically was like I gave them money. I thought they would go away. I didn't think that. I thought everything was going to be solved because money saves everything, and obviously, so there was not a whole lot of.
And the big thing, the big mystery of this, and then we're going to play a song. The big mystery, still to this day. Is did Tanya know, right?
Well,
you dance around it in the movie, but you don't nail down like I knew what was going on, but she did.
Well, I think what he says is that she knew about the death threats, and she knew like that they were going to send these letters,
right?
But that they both didn't know that Sean would take it to where he took it.
Do you believe him?
I mean, I think that's the closest. I did believe him. I thought, that it's a plausible
hold on. God
scenario.
comes down and he says, "Here's the deal, Seb. Did he do it or did he not do it? Did they know or did they not know?"
For the purposes of me playing him, I had to believe him at that point. That I took as truth. I mean,
purposes of playing him.
Right.
But you're not playing him no more. You're sitting in my house right now. You're talking on the show.
But it's
did he do it or not? Did he know or not? Did he know that she was going to get the knee bar?
I don't think he knew.
You don't think he knew?
No.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Do you believe him when he says that?
I don't think. Well, no, I watched the movie and I didn't know all those things, but I don't. I believe him.
I think where he goes wrong, where everybody goes wrong, is instead of like right away, like going and telling the authorities what happened, they decided to cover it all up. Try to get away with it, like make it like as if nothing had happened, and now is the problem.
You guys really, really nailed it. It felt like Omaha. It felt like I had people that did small crimes that it would rob they'd rob a gas station, and then 3 days later they'd be telling all their friends on a couch, and it was the fucking lame brain, and that's how most crimes get. 90% of all crimes. Anybody that plans and is smart about committing a crime, I think 90% of those go unsolved. It's the other gajillion crimes where Sean Eckhart is telling his buddies about beating up, or it's felt so Omaha to me, man. You guys, the movie was great.
I think it should win Best Picture. That's just I'm not part of the Academy, of course, but
you do?
Yeah.
You think it's the Best Picture winner?
I think it should be up there for sure.
It definitely should be nominated,
and you should be nominated too. Janny and Margot's nominated. I think you definitely.
Who's in your category? Like are you your best supporting actor, right?
That's the category I would have.
You would be in.
But there's some fucking unbelievable actors this year in that category. Sam Rockwell. How many performances did that guy put in before this is his first Oscar nomination? It's kind of crazy. And then
you've gotten done what you needed to get done with this movie. You don't need to be it would be amazing to be nominated for an Oscar, but this is not the last of you. This is really the big start. I know there's been a ton of big starts, but this is it now. You're working and you're getting shit. It's on for you. You know that, right? You're about to get fucking loco.
I hope so. Yeah.
You're about to make some real movies now. Back to back.
You haven't done any real movies until now.
Well, no. But he's about to get. It's about to get real for him. It's like a serious. Like if he plays his cards right, he's in the award movie every year if he wants. And then how does that work? Your agents and you go, oh, is this an award movie or?
It's just, it's just about having, like everybody communicate the same language. It's just like, you go like, well, who's the director? Who else is in it? And what's the script? And then but if it's a good movie, if it's a good script, like Leo is going to be in it. Why not go to that guy, right?
All right. We're having a nice talk with Sebastian Stan. Thank you for getting in here and not making the almond milk, you idiot.
It's such a pleasure.
Zombie, do you accept his face?
I do, Shane. It's not too shabby at all.
Okay,
the only
great.
question you're getting the whole day is, do you accept his face?
That's what I'm here for.
Thanks for coming. Really. You're doing great research. Doing great research.
All right, we'll be right back. This is the world's only 24-hour talk radio app. It's The Morning Drive. Shane.